Welcome to another episode of our deep dive into the economic realities. I'm Tony, and today we're uncovering a critical link that determines the health of an economy, the relationship between public debt and GDP. We'll explore how a healthy economy maintains low public debt and high GDP, and why corruption can turn this balance upside down, leading to an undeclared state of bankruptcy. Public debt, or national debt, is the total amount of money that the government owns to creditors. It's a reflection of how much a country borrows to finance its activities, including infrastructure, defense, healthcare, and more. Gross domestic product, or GDP, represent the total value of all goods and services produced within a country over a specific period. It's the most comprehensive indicator of a nation's economic performance. In a healthy economy, the government manages its budget wisely, ensuring that public debt remains manageable and GDP grows steadily. This balance is crucial because it allows a country to invest in future growth without accumulating unsustainable debt. Corruption is the misuse of power for private gain, and it can take many forms, from embezzlement to bribery to cronyism. When corruption takes hold of an economy, it distorts financial management, leading to a mislocation of resources and increased public debt. Corruption inflates public debt because funds are often diverted from productive investments into private pockets. Infrastructure projects may be overvalued, services may be outsourced to favor companies at inflated prices, and tax revenues may be siphoned off, reducing the government's income while increasing its expenditure. When corruption thrives, economic growth slow, resources are not used efficiently, and the private sector loses confidence, leading to lower investment and reduced economic output. As GDP grows, stale, or even declines, the debt-to-GDP ratio begins to rise. Now let's dive into the economic formula that signal when an economy is heading toward bankruptcy. The key indicator here is debt to GDP ratio. Formula explanation is simple. Debt to GDP ratio equal total public debt divided by GDP times 100. This ratio measures a country's ability to pay off its debt. In a stable economy, this ratio is typically below 60%. When it exceeds 100%, it indicates that the country owns more than it produces in a year, a critical red flag. When public debt surpasses GDP, the economy is in a precarious situation. It signals that the government may no longer have the capacity to pay off its debt without borrowing more, leading to a vicious cycle of increasing debt. This is what I call an undeclared bankruptcy, where the economy is technically insolvent, but no one has officially acknowledged it. Once public debt exceeds GDP, the government faces mounting interest payments that consume a large share of its budget. To cover these costs, it may need to impose higher taxes, cut essential services, or borrow even more, each of which can stifle economic growth further. Investors lose confidence in an economy with unsustainable debt, leading to capital flight, higher borrowing costs, and a weakened currency. These factors create a downward spiral where economic collapse becomes increasingly inevitable. History provides numerous examples of countries where corruption led to excessive public debt and eventually economic collapse. Greece during the Eurozone crisis, Venezuela, hyperinflation, and more recently, Lebanon, financial crisis. Each of these cases illustrate the consequences of ignoring the warning signs. To recap, in a healthy economy, public debt is low and GDP is high, reflecting strong economic management. However, when corruption infects the economy, public debt balloons and GDP grows stale, leading to a dangerous debt-to-GDP ratio that signals undeclared bankruptcy. The key takeaway is that once public debt surpasses GDP, an economy is on the brink of collapse. The only way to avoid this fate is through transparency, accountability, and sound economic policies that prioritize long-term stability over short-term gains. As of 2024, the United States finds itself grappling with a precarious debt-to-GDP ratio, where public debt has surged to approximately 120% of its GDP. This ratio indicates that the country owes more than it produces in a year, a concerning sign for the world's largest economy. The growing debt is driven by extensive government spending, coupled with slower than expected economic growth. While the U.S. remains a dominant global economic power, this imbalance raises alarms about the sustainability of its fiscal policies and the potential long-term consequences for economic stability if corrective measures are not taken. Thank you for tuning in today's episode. If you found this discussion insightful, please share it with others who care about the future of our global economy. Stay informed, stay vigilant, and let's work toward a more just, and sustainable world. Tony, signing off.